Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SMMT's first virtual summit. Crisis? What crisis? Words attributed to Prime Minister Jim Callaghan as he disembarked a flight from the Caribbean to return to the winter of discontent in 1979. If he got off a similar plane today, before heading to quarantine, he would probably say, crisis, which crisis? Because we have multiple. Now, as recently as March, Brexit was our all-consuming worry. COVID has made it secondary, which is quite a feat in itself. COVID is, of course, a global health crisis, a global economic crisis, a crisis for our children. The pandemic has had a profound effect on all of us, on our friends and families, our colleagues, our industry. People confined to homes, businesses closed, a global economy in shock. Automotive has been particularly hard hit. Manufacturing and retail shuttered, nothing made, barely anything sold. The worst month since rationing. The world we face is very different and uncertain. But we've started to emerge. Many showrooms are now open, production lines are restarting, but social distancing and the minimal cash reserves mean the restart is tentative, capacity is constrained. Let's be clear. Automotive is fundamentally strong, agile, efficient, competitive, a flexible and dedicated workforce contributing billions to the economy, a major employer in all regions of the UK. But we need support to survive intact. Now, government has done much to help businesses survive. The job retention scheme alone has been an absolute lifeline. But it should be seen as investment in the future of Britain's most valuable assets. The prolonged shutdown has squeezed liquidity. Emergency financing schemes have helped, but some companies, some famous brands, have had to look elsewhere. The pressures are about to become more acute. As we reopen, cash flow will get stretched. Expenditure will resume before invoices are paid, and potentially it's the workforce that suffers the most. When demand is down, production must match that decline. A third of our workforce remains furloughed. The scheme will taper, and we want those staff back into work, not into redundancy. These are highly skilled, highly paid jobs. They're not readily replaceable. But unless we get strategic support, job losses, I'm afraid, will be inevitable. Government's intervention, as I said, has been unprecedented, but the job still isn't finished. We need to restart, to build demand, to build growth. We want to keep the UK at the forefront of the global automotive industry, exporting around the world, fostering innovation and offering careers to thousands. To do so, we have to remain globally competitive. Government should be partners, help us in a crisis, and we'll repay that investment many times over. We have seen competitors supported in enviable fashion. Germany, 130 billion euros. France, over 9 billion euros alone for the automotive sector. The UK? We'll wait and see. Now, the government threw its arms around business as it shut, and it shouldn't let go now. Whatever form it takes, rebuilding consumer confidence, investing in technology, securing resilient supply chains. With the right support, we can overcome this crisis and we can deliver a sustainable and green recovery, because that remains our ambition. Our part of the Green Deal is developing the technology, making the products, making them affordable and available. We've invested heavily in an emission-free future, but we still need to translate consumer interest into consumer demand. Now we need others, including government, to play their role, to make significant long-term commitments to incentives, infrastructure and skills, create the market conditions that attract and retain investment. As global rivals accelerate their own recovery plans, we must remain competitive. And that invariably leads us to Brexit. Now, before COVID, we expected to produce around 1.3 million vehicles this year. The pandemic means we're now looking at scarcely 900,000. A no-deal Brexit would wreak further damage, probably fatal. Tariffs would add costs that cannot be absorbed. Customs duties and complexity would disrupt supply. Output would continue to plummet, potentially down to only 850,000. undermining the very viability of the sector. The industry cannot withstand the shock of a hard Brexit. COVID has consumed every inch of capability and capacity. There is not the resource, the time, nor the clarity to prepare. That's why we do need to turbocharge the negotiations. We have to secure a free trade agreement with the EU, not an Australia deal, but an ambitious one, a comprehensive one, an FTA that maintains tariff and quota-free trade. With such a deal, a strong recovery is possible. We can grow volumes to 1.1 million vehicles next year, to 1.35 million by 2035. We can safeguard the industry and our reputation as an attractive destination for foreign investment and a major trade player. Today we launch our second trade report. It shows just how critical our sector is to the economy, how we export to the world with a confidence born of quality, engineering excellence and unrivaled skills. Back in Jim Callaghan's day, it was doubted whether there would even be a UK automotive industry 40 years on. But thanks to hard work, investment and imagination, we're the productivity drivers of UK manufacturing. We produce some of the world's finest automotive products, yet we can turn our hand to ventilators or PPE in an instant. We are an absolute asset to the UK, to trade, to the economy, to society. But we are an asset that is easily lost and not readily won back. Thank you.